All right, how you doing, YouTube? Welcome back for another review. I'm here to talk about Ant Man and the Wasp, which I just saw, and it's really good. I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I'm not the biggest fan of the first Ant Man movie. Thought it was all right, and for me, I like this a little bit more. It gave me more of the things I wanted to see from the last movie. The things that I liked in the last movie gave me more of that, and then they changed certain things in the last movie, which for me worked better. I don't know. It's a fun movie. Like the jokes, it's just like the last movie. Some of the jokes are hit and miss, but the acting between all the main characters, Hank Pym played by Michael Douglas, Scott Lang played by Paul Rudd, and Hope Van Dyne played by Evangeline Lilly. Their interactions together is really good and really strong. And also the special effects are great, and how not just Scott, but how Scott and Hope use their powers, all the size and shrinking manipulation stuff is really good in this movie. And also the things they do in ants, which they did in the last movie, which was really good, and they do even more so in this movie, which I really enjoy. Just the type of technology that these heroes have that kind of separating them from the other tech-based superheroes in the Marvel universe. And like I said, the humor is great. So the basic story is Scott Lang, if you've seen Civil War, he broke his promise and he committed a crime. He got arrested, but then I don't know if he got broken out. Okay, so I should say this. I missed like the first probably 10 or so minutes of this movie, so I don't know how to explain him, getting broken out of the base, but somehow he got arrested. I guess he didn't go on the run, so he got caught, and he has Jimmy Woo, played by Randall Park, who works for the FBI, is kind of like his parole officer-ish, but he's like keeping tabs on him, and he's on house arrest. He's been on house arrest for 2 years, and he's got like a couple of days left as this movie starts before his house arrest is over. And in that time, he's been just chilling at home and having his raising his daughter. And eventually he starts having these something happens which connects him back to Janet, and he can help Janet, who is Hope's mom, who's been trapped in the quantum realm. He ends up teaming back with Hank and Hope in a way to help track down their mother, who's trapped in the quantum realm. And as a result of that, they get caught up with another guy called Sonny Burch, who's played by Walton Goggins. I love Walton Goggins, but he's like the least interesting character in this movie. He's pretty much wasted in this movie, which is annoying because Walton Goggins is really good, and he's just there just to be there. Another person who I really love is Michelle Pfeiffer, but also she's sort of wasted in this movie because that's kind of sad. I mean, it works for the story, but it's like I wish you could have did more with her. And what's his name? Michael Pena and the buddies, T.I. and the Russian guy, they're fine. I didn't think Michael Pena was as funny as he was in the last movie, although he does have this one scene that he does the whole recap thing, and it's much longer than the one he did in the first movie, and that was really funny. And T.I. and the Russian guy, they're all right. The villain in this movie is known as Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen. Now, some people are kind of shitting on her. I thought she was fine. I liked her. She's way better than Cross from the last movie, because Cross was complete garbage. I hated Cross, and he was just Obadiah Stane light. At least the villain in this movie is sympathetic, and she has a very interesting backstory. And she's still bland. Like, you don't get too much about her, but her backstory is really cool, and her motivation is sympathetic, and I it's something to care about, as opposed to Cross, who I did not give a shit about. And Lawrence Fishburne is in this as Bill Foster, who, if you don't know from the comics, is known as Black Goliath or Goliath, and he's connected with Hank. And in this one, he's one of Hank's former colleagues who they used to work together, but they had a falling out. And he was in this a lot more than what I thought he was going to be in this, and his character is very integral to the plot, and I'll save that for spoilers. But yeah, all in all, it's a fun movie. They, like I said, the action is better. There's actually some good. There's some really funny moments with between Scott and Hope. Who in this movie, Hope is she's a true badass. Like, she was badass in the last movie, but now she's got the powers, and she's even more badass in this movie. And I appreciated all of it. Now, I don't know if they may have made Scott a little bit dumber than what he was in the last movie, but he's not like a complete idiot, but he is a little bit dumb. But then again, he is like just a sort of smart thief with dealing with all these other scientist people. So that's like a running gag, is everyone's speaking all this high brain science, and he's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or he's like, is that real? Like, are you guys just making this stuff up? So that stuff was fun. And him and his relationship with his daughter, Cassie, that's fun stuff with that. I like that little girl, she's adorable. And of course, Hank and Hope and their their father-daughter relationship stuff, paralleling that is very well as well. But yeah, if I had to grade this, I'd give this a B or a 8 out of 10. It's worth checking out. Some people saying it's one of the best Marvel sequels, and I would kind of have to agree now that I think about it. Because at first I was like, it's really not, but then when I think about the other Marvel like sequels, like in terms of sequels, I mean just the second movie, not the third movie, it's like, well, Winter Soldier would be the best, and then it's like, ooh, you got Dark World, which I like Dark World more than the first Thor, and then you got Iron Man 2 and I like Age of Ultron. People shit on that, but I like Age of Ultron. And so yeah, it's one of the better ones. I'd probably put it as like probably the third best sequel after Age of Ultron and Winter Soldier being the first best. So yeah, it's a good movie. It's not, it's not garbage. You can check this one out. If there's nothing else major coming out this weekend, so it's worth your time. And there's two post-credit scenes. There's one way at the end, and then there's a mid-credit scene. The mid-credit scene is when you need to watch. You'll see it, but I didn't stick around for the post-credit scene because I heard it was, sort of light. But that mid-credit scene is really good, and I'll get more to that in spoilers. But that's all I have to say for the movie now. 8 out of 10, a B. Go check it out. But now we're going to get into spoilers. Alright, let's get into spoilers. So, things to spoil. I mean, it's not a lot. Okay, so they save Hope. Not Hope. They save Michelle Pfeiffer's character, who was trapped. Scott, their quantum. It was called a quantum entanglement. So she was able to sort of connect through Scott through the quantum realm. He was having her flashbacks were being given to him as dreams, so that led them to be able a way to connect them together, which was a funny scene where whenever they cut on the quantum generator, that's when their link is active, and there's a moment where they need to figure out something with the algorithm, and like Janet has like possessed Scott, and so Paul Rudd is acting like Michelle Pfeiffer. That was probably one of the funnier jokes in the movie. And then like, of course, like she's like holding Hank's hand, and she's like calling Hope Jelly Bean and everything, and then when she leaves, Scott doesn't realize what the hell just happened. He's still holding Hank's hand. That was a funny moment. So the thing with the ants, when you see Hank's lab, he's like programmed the ants. He's gone beyond just having his helmet where he can mind control the ants. He's actually like giving the ants certain programming where they're like big worker ants, but instead of just building an anthill, they're now building this quantum tunnel thing, which I thought I don't think I've ever seen that with Ant Man in the comics, but the fact that he's like got these giant ants that he uses worker ants for him was really cool. That was very inventive. And I like the scene. Well, Scott's he's got like a new suit, prototype suit. It's kind of malfunctioned, so that's like a bit throughout the movie where like the suit either makes him really big or really small or like mid-size. Like there's a bit where they had to break into the school to get the because they needed the old suit, and he had told them that he had destroyed it, but he hadn't. And that must have been the scene I missed where he had there was a world's greatest grandma trophy that he gave to the daughter, and she took it for show and tell, but like, there's a little compartment, and that's where he kept the suit, where he mailed it to himself before he got arrested after Civil War. And so they have to sneak into the school, and the suit malfunctions. So he's like the size of he's even small. He's probably like the size of like maybe like a toddler, if not a 5-year-old. And he's got this big hoodie on, and he's running around in the hoodie. That was funny. I like that moment. And Hope's the action sequences with Hope were really good. And speaking of action with Ghost, I like Ghost's story and her power, the visual of her power, how she's got part of the quantum energy in her, and her body is slowly deteriorating, and she can like phase through matter, but she can't control it, and she's slowly dying. That was sympathetic, and I liked her backstory where you find out her dad worked with Hank and Lawrence Fishburne's character, but Lawrence Fishburne tells her that he got fired because Hank was an asshole, but Hank says no, he got fired because he was a thief and he was selling Hank's secrets. Although Hank was an asshole, but that's not the reason why that guy got fired, and try to recreate the experiment, and it doesn't go right, and the daughter's the only one who survives. That was nice. And then the whole thing with Bill, because I thought they were going to make Lawrence Fishburne be her dad, because then that was when they show up together, I'm like, oh wait, is he her dad? But it's like, no, he's just a friend of the family, and he's trying to help her out. And I'm glad they didn't make him evil, because there was a moment where I was like, oh, don't make Lawrence Fishburne evil. I want to like him in this movie, but he's not. He just goes about trying to help her in a slightly different way. But he does draw a line where there's a moment where she wants to absorb the quantum energy out of Janet, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, and hopefully that would cure her. And she's not wrong, but there's a better way. Ultimately, she wasn't wrong, but there's a better way to do it, because Janet being in the quantum realm for 30 years, she's got quantum manipulation powers, and she can because she does it to Hank when he's in there, and I like seeing Hank in his own sort of updated-ish Ant Man suit to go save Janet, and she helps him out, and then when they get out, she helps out Ghost, and that was nice. But then so Walton Goggins, he was so wasted in this movie. He plays Simon Birch, and he's like this tech guy who does he's sort of like Justin Hammer but shittier. So I guess they couldn't get away from the shitty Iron Man knockoff in a way, but I don't think he really owns a big corporation. He's just like he's like under a black markets tech guy, and he makes deals and sells tech, steals tech. And I wish they hadn't got rid of AIM in Iron Man 3, because he could have been like a low-level AIM guy. And I wish they hadn't got rid of S.H.I.E.L.D., because Jimmy Woo's character, who's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in the comics, could have been working with S.H.I.E.L.D., so it would have been even of a bigger threat that it was S.H.I.E.L.D. that was coming after them, as opposed to it being the FBI, but that's fine. But Walton Goggins, he pops in, he's the one who's been helping them get the tech that they need to make the quantum portal thing. And then he turns on them once he finds out who they are, and then he wants to steal their lab. And that's one of the parts of the movie, is the lab can grow and shrink, and people trying to take away the lab. And he pops up every 25 minutes. You forget about him, and then he pops up to fuck with them. There's a couple of chase scenes that are really good with, the size manipulation thing, which that's another problem I will have. Is like most of the action sequences in this movie, you've seen glimpses, a lot of glimpses of them in the trailers. So that's kind of annoying, because there's nothing else that you don't see that's not in those trailers, except I guess for, Hank going into the quantum realm, that was beautifully done. The special effects for that were really good. And I'm trying to think what else. Something else I'm forgetting. No, there's nothing else I'm forgetting. Like, the action was good. The action was fun. I'm trying to think of other things. Like, it's not a lot to complain about with this movie. It's not a lot to really rage on about, and there's not too much to really praise in this movie. Which, I know that can be good or bad any way you look at it. It's just, like I said, it's a solid film. But they save the day. They say Hope uses her quantum manipulation to save Ghost, and now Ghost is on the run, but like Bill is still gonna hang with her because Bill's like, you know, like a surrogate father to her. So I don't know if she's coming back. There doesn't need to be an Ant-Man 3. There really doesn't. I don't know where else the story's gonna go besides, you know, leading into Avengers 4, Infinity War Part 2, which that mid-credit scene pretty much explain. If you've been keeping up with various spoilers and behind-the-scene things for Infinity War 2, you might know. If you don't know, you might know that there's been shots of Scott Lang on the set with Captain America and Iron Man, but it's set from the first Avengers movie. And there's a thing at the end of this movie where they've taken the quantum portal and made it smaller. They fit it into the back of one of the vans. Oh, actually, that does remind me. There's a thing with the cars. They have the cars that they can shrink and grow. That was cool. And it's like set in like the little Hot Wheels case. That was cool. But they have the quantum portal in the back of the van, and there's a line that Michelle Pfeiffer gives specifically where she's like, if you go into the quantum realm, just make sure you avoid one thing and avoid getting caught in a time portal. You can get lost through time, which I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen, because as soon as he goes in to absorb the quantum healing energy so they can use it to help out Ghosts, they're talking through the walkie-talkie, and then he loses contact with him, because then you find out Hope, her mom, and Hank have been dusted by that snap from Infinity War, and so now Scott is stuck in the quantum realm, and I'm assuming he's going to get caught in the time stream, and then he's going to get sent back in time, and in a way. Well, then again, I don't know how he might get sent back in time, but somehow that's going to affect the outcome in Infinity War 4. I don't know how, but they've set it up. So that's like the biggest takeaway from this movie is that mid-credit scene. You know, they're laying the groundwork for how Scott might end up in Avengers 1 when he didn't even exist as Ant-Man yet. So that was really cool, and I really appreciated that. And that's about the main things I can say about this movie. It's really good. But if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comics what you thought of this film. Was it better or worse than the first movie? And what is your least favorite not Iron Man movie? What is your least favorite Marvel movie? Because Ant Man is probably if I had to do the top 5, it's probably like number 5. I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite, and I would definitely pet this over that movie. But if you enjoyed this video, don't like the video, and don't forget to share this video, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're still growing, and I could use your support. But that's all I have to say for this, and stay tuned for more videos. Peace.
Finish this thought. I am a slave to
the booty.